On Wednesday, June 5th at Temple Beth Shalom, the League of Women Voters, Temple Beth Shalom, Mothers Out Front's Needham chapter, and Green Needham Collaborative held a discussion about climate change. The policy director, Dr. Rachel Cletus of the Climate Energy Program of the Union of Concerned Scientists, gave a presentation regarding the current climate science.
We've seen 18 of the 19 hottest years since 2001. We've seen year on year where records are being broken. We're now about a degree Celsius, about 1.8 degrees Fahrenheit above pre-industrial levels in terms of temperature increase. And we're already seeing pretty serious impacts. So even staying below 1.5 C or 2 C, as the Paris Agreement calls for, will mean worsening impacts. And again, unfortunately, we have an administration that's stepping away from the Paris Agreement and trying to dismantle this sort of global cooperation that was created. Every fraction of a degree we can avoid matters in terms of the impacts on natural and human systems. So this is a chart taken directly from the IPCC report, looking at a range of impacts, everything from heat-related morbidity and mortality on the far right to corals on the left. And the shades of color are meant to tell you at different temperature thresholds, going from 1 to 1.5 to 2, how much more serious the risks become. And as you can see, every fraction of a degree matters. So this is not a time where you should listen to folks who say, well, clearly 1.5 is out of reach or clearly 2 is out of reach. Everything we can do to keep it as low as possible is still as vitally important and urgent as ever. We've seen the wildfire season getting longer. In fact, now in California, there's pretty much a year-round wildfire season. In the western U.S., in states like Washington and Oregon as well, we're starting to see these very long wildfire seasons. And we're seeing that when fires break out, they are tending to be these really large conflagrations with obviously severe consequences for people who live nearby. The clearest climate signal around wildfires, ironically, is in Alaska, because in the lower 48, we have been managing our forests and lands for a long time. We have been suppressing fires for a long time. And as a result, we are creating a tinderbox that when a fire breaks out, they tend to be more extreme. So the climate signal is clear everywhere in the western U.S., but in Alaska, because we have not actually been suppressing fires, we haven't been managing land so intensely, and yet we're seeing wildfires get worse. We know for sure this is a climate signal. We did an overlay with a data set that we got from Zillow on coastal property all along the U.S. Coastline. And this report essentially was trying to expose how much real estate in the U.S. is at risk from this chronic high tide flooding. And what we found was pretty stark. We tried to put our findings in a time frame that we thought people could actually identify with. So one set of our results is for 2045, which is within the lifetime of a typical mortgage issued today. And what we found around the country was that we have over 300,000 homes and businesses that are at risk of this chronic high tide flooding, worth about $136 billion today. And by 2100, those numbers jump to $1 trillion worth of real estate at risk, over 2.5 million homes and businesses at risk. Our challenge here is that we're currently dealing with these as sort of one-off emergencies. You'll often see disaster as the frame, which makes it seem like something just happened. We had no idea and something just happened. But we have the science. We know that these risks are getting worse, and we know that certain places are more exposed than others. So we've got to be acting ahead of time.